here is a lie society teaches you early. That hatred is loud, that enemies scream, that people who dislike you will confront you directly. That's not how real hatred works. Real hatred is quiet, strategic, patient, and most people never notice it because they're trained to look for noise. But psychology tells us something far more unsettling. A person who truly hates you will almost never insult you openly. They will almost never challenge you directly. Instead, they will give you two things, not gifts.
Weapons.
And if you don't recognize them early, they will slowly drain your energy, distort your self-image, and sabotage your progress without ever appearing guilty. This video isn't about fear. It isn't about paranoia. It's about clarity, because once you understand these two things, hatred loses its power over you.
And more importantly,
you stop bleeding energy to people who don't deserve access to your mind. Hatred is not emotional weakness. That's a comforting myth. In psychology, hatred is often paired with admiration, envy, or perceived threat. People don't deeply hate those beneath them. They ignore them. They hate those who represent something they cannot access.
Your freedom.
Your authenticity. Your growth. Your potential. Carl Jung once suggested that what irritates us in others often reveals what we have disowned in ourselves. Hatred is rarely about you. It's about what your existence forces them to confront. And when a person feels threatened but lacks courage, they don't attack. They maneuver. Because open conflict risks exposure. But subtle influence? That's safe. That's why the most dangerous hostility comes disguised as concern, silence, or even support. The first thing a person who truly hates you gives you is confusion.
Not chaos. Confusion.
They create mixed signals. They praise you publicly, undermine you privately. They support you emotionally but block you practically. They appear neutral, but their actions never align. Psychology calls this cognitive dissonance induction. When someone gives you contradictory cues, your mind tries to resolve the inconsistency. And guess who becomes the problem?
You.
You start asking, did I misunderstand? Am I overthinking?
Maybe I'm too sensitive.
This is not accidental. Confusion drains mental energy. A confused person is easier to control. Instead of focusing on growth, you start focusing on interpretation. Instead of moving forward, you pause. Confusion is a leash, and people who hate you want you stationary. How confusion shows up in real life. They delay instead of refuse. They respond vaguely instead of clearly. They keep conversations unresolved. Notice this. Healthy people communicate cleanly. They say yes or no. They clarify. They close loops. People who hate you leave doors half open. Why? Because unresolved tension keeps you psychologically hooked. It keeps you guessing, keeps you investing. And here's the Stoic truth. If someone consistently confuses you, they are not confused about you. They are clear about their intent. They just don't want you to be. The second thing a person who truly hates you gives you is invisibility. This one is far more subtle. They don't attack your presence. They erase it. Your ideas are overlooked. Your contributions go unacknowledged. Your absence goes unnoticed. This is called social exclusion, and psychology confirms it triggers the same pain centers as physical injury. But again, this isn't accidental. By making you invisible, they remove your influence without confrontation.
No conflict.
No drama. No accountability. Just silence. And silence is powerful because it makes you question your worth. But here's the truth most people never learn. When someone erases you, it's because they see you clearly. They know your presence disrupts their narrative, so they minimize it. Invisible people don't get feedback. They don't get mirrors. They don't get reinforcement, which means they start self-editing. They speak less. They shrink. They hesitate. That's the goal. Hatred doesn't want to destroy you loudly. It wants to reduce you quietly. Stoicism teaches this. No one can make you small without your cooperation. But invisibility tempts you to cooperate because humans crave recognition. Here's where most people fail. They confront. They ask for clarity. They seek validation. They demand honesty. That feeds the game. because confrontation gives them exactly what they want. Emotional proof of impact. Silence starves them. Boundaries starve them. Detachment ends the dynamic entirely. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the best revenge is to be unlike your enemy. In modern terms, do not explain yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. Do not prove yourself to those invested in your doubt. Your power is not in reaction. It's in withdrawal of access. Here's how you respond calmly, strategically, effectively. Reduce emotional availability. Stop sharing plans, vulnerabilities, or inner thoughts. 2. Observe patterns, not words. Words can lie, patterns don't. 3. Maintain polite distance. No hostility, no warmth. Neutrality disarms manipulation. 4. Redirect energy inward. The moment you stop trying to be understood, you become unstoppable. 5. Let outcomes speak. Success exposes hidden hostility better than confrontation ever could. This is not avoidance. This is mastery. A person who truly hates you will give you two things. Confusion, so you doubt yourself. Invisibility, so you forget your power. But awareness breaks both. When you see clearly, confusion dissolves. When you stand firm, invisibility ends. Not because they change, but because you do. And here's the final truth. The more disciplined, grounded, and self-directed you become, the less access hatred has to your life. Because silence, clarity, and inner strength are languages manipulators don't understand. They never learned them. They grew fluent in reaction, in emotional spikes, in confusion, in pulling invisible strings and watching others dance. Reaction is their oxygen. Without it, their influence collapses. So deny them fluency, not with anger, not with explanation, not with defense,
but with stillness.
Stillness is terrifying to someone who survives on control, because in silence there is nothing to grab, nothing to twist, nothing to feed on. Clarity does the same thing. When your mind is clear, their tactics become obvious. When your direction is firm, their distractions lose power. When your values are grounded, their opinions fade into background noise. Clarity is not loud confidence. It's quiet certainty, and quiet certainty is unshakable. Inner strength doesn't announce itself. It doesn't argue. It doesn't perform. It simply moves forward, unchanged by praise, untouched by criticism. This is why manipulators grow restless around strong people. They can't read them. They can't predict them. They can't provoke them. And what cannot be provoked cannot be controlled. If this resonated, don't rush to explain it to anyone. Sit with it. Let it settle. Notice where you've been giving reaction instead of presence. Notice where you've been explaining instead of embodying. Notice where you've been seeking understanding from those who benefit from your confusion. Reflection is where power returns. Because the moment you stop reacting, you start observing. And the moment you start observing, the game ends. If you're walking a path of self-mastery, where psychology meets discipline, where awareness replaces impulse, where strength becomes quiet, then subscribe, not for noise, not for trends, not for validation, but for clarity. Because the strongest people in the room rarely announce themselves. They don't need to. They're already aware,